We're going to call today's rules meeting to order at, I don't have a clock in front of me now in this new system. Anyway, it's probably 2:02. Let's have roll call.
Davis.
Here.
Jimenez.
Present.
Foley.
Here.
Cohen.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, great. We'll start with the review of next Tuesday's June 13th council meeting. Meeting is noticed to start closed session at 9 a.m., regular session at 11, with the ceremonials and invocation at 1:30. Evening session's been canceled. All right, consent starts on page 6. Goes to page 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and ends there. Okay, section 3, we have equity pledge for disability, the mayor's June budget message, that'll be heard after ceremonials after 1:30, and proposed changes in allocation for Measure E. There is an add sheet, I think, that also adds more verbiage to item 3.5 and also has another consent item. We have the operating capital budget 3.6, public hearing on recording liens 3.7, proposed ordinance for Title 12 3.8. Section 4.1 is cannabis regulatory updates. Section 6, we have stormwater capture project River Oaks. And I think 8.1 has been moved to consent, is that correct? I guess that's correct, okay. And land use, we have, the 1655 Berryessa Road project and cannabis item that will be heard concurrently with item 4.1. So let's go to public comment.
Jeffrey.
Hi, members of the committee. Jeffrey Buchanan on behalf of Working Partnerships USA. Just a concern here, particularly with the ad sheet. This agenda item on the Measure E allocation had been agendized previously as a discussion of possible amendments to the allocation. With the ad sheet, it is also adding the possibility of a vote of eliminating the policy overall of the 2/3 majority vote needed to change the allocation. I think this kind of 11th hour addition came sometime today, at least maybe it came earlier, but I was looking at the agenda and did not see it until a couple minutes before the meeting. So I'm not even sure if the committee members have had a chance to digest the implications of this. Additionally, we've seen a significant delay in the mayor's June message without this committee offering any kind of waiver of the sunshine policy. The budget message did not come out until this morning. And so I'm just very concerned about a number of open government issues with how some of the most important aspects of the city budget are playing out, and would just encourage committee members to take a stand for open government and to consider not supporting the addition to the agenda, to consider the elimination or waiver of the 2/3 vote majority, because the public just has not had a chance to even consider this. I'm not sure why we're adding this at this late date when very few will even know it happened. It's kind of done in the back room in the middle of the night kind of approach to governance that I don't think any of us want to see happen in San Jose. So thank you very much.
Call in user 1.
Yeah, hi, Martha O'Connell speaking on item 3.4 on the budget. I am so happy that it looks like I will never have to make another phone call or send another email on the issue of the mobile home redesignation, because the mayor points out that this has already been previously approved in this year's budget. And he writes, it extends zoning protections to all mobile home parks to reduce the risk of future redevelopment leading to mass displacement. So thank God. I'm looking forward never having to talk about this again, and a huge shout out to Pam and Sergio for being very supportive of this, and I'm sure they'll be as thrilled as I am that we will never have to discuss it again. Thank you.
Matthew Reed.
Yes, Matthew Reed, Director of Policy at Silicon Valley at Home. I apologize, I don't have notes put together. This is a last minute decision for me to call in. And I'm calling in to urge this committee not to waive the 2/3 vote requirement for changes to the Measure E allocation. Silicon Valley at Home was proud to sponsor the campaign in San Jose for Measure E in coordination with many members of the then council and office of the mayor and community organizations and civic organizations, members of the development community, folks who represented people who were and are living in tremendous hardship in our city, with the understanding that these resources were going to go to address the breadth of the housing needs in the city. It was so important that the council put these guardrails in place. Last year, the council chose to change the allocation from the original allocation that was published ahead of the vote and approved by the voters. But that was a detailed, complicated process to bring together folks into space to talk about the trade-offs, and the decision was made that the importance of interim shelters was high enough that we should rededicate 15% of the funds to address those needs and that opportunity. That got over 8 votes. We believe that there needs to be a consensus for this to be changed, and we urge you not to waive that requirement.
Brian Darby.
Hello, thank you. I have to concur with what was said. Don't waive the 2/3 required vote. And I'm glad that mobile homes are protected. Ours really wasn't. I mean, the city tried. And I can tell you that being displaced after spending so many years in one place is pretty frustrating and pretty emotional. Granted, that doesn't have any meaning because I don't have any money. But it's aggravating. And I would like to encourage the council to understand that the people, or not the council, the group, sorry, the people who are there represent the citizens of San Jose. And that includes us, not just developers, which seems to be oftentimes who really does have the representation. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
All right, thank you. Start with Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. Still figuring out the new system. I am really concerned about waiving the 2/3 vote, and I know I've said this a lot of times in public, and I didn't support Measure E in the first place because of the ability to change it even with a 2/3 vote. It wasn't a dedicated fund to affordable housing. I remain concerned about that. Therefore, I'm certainly not interested in changing the allocations with only a majority vote. We took this to the voters and promised them that we would keep this money for affordable housing, and that the allocations would be set in a way that if they were changed, it would be with a supermajority of the council. Therefore, I'm going to move the council agenda for Tuesday, June 13th, and I'm not going to include the entire ad sheet. I'm going to include only 2.x.
Is there a second?
Second.
Let me first ask, before we accept that, there still are some changes in 3.5 that are required, it's not just section C of 3.5, or is the only change in the ad sheet the addition of C?
Good afternoon, Jim Shannon, City's Budget Director. For the ad sheet, so there is item C. It's the remainder of item 3.5 is to clarify one of the substantial additions not related, and the reason why that item is in there was because of the language that was in the June budget message that was released earlier that asked for that consideration, which is why the administration brought that forward. The other language that is also in there is the recommended allocation of prior year allocations, which is in the June budget message. So that was added as a convenience to show that allocation as part, and I think that's part B1 is where the mayor's June budget message items were in there. I'm sorry, that's B2, sorry. So it was just really reorganized a little bit to show sort of what the original recommendation is in the proposed budget, what the recommendation is in the June budget message, leaving space for alternatives that may be coming forward in the process as council members may release a blue memo on this topic to leave space for that. And then it also had the item C there, which was offering the option to pass by a majority vote. So those are the different components that are part of that.
So Jim, what of this needs to be added that wasn't there last week that needs a sunshine waiver?
So I would say that I think for clarity, A1 was there last week. A3 was there last week. A2 was not there, but it was added for clarity, since A2 would be a majority vote, but only for the regular Measure E spending priorities. So it's just the 40, the 30, and everything else. So was why that was added, just for clarity's sake, after conversation with the city attorney's office. B1 is the proposed budget that was there from last week. Just clarifying, those percentages are from MBA number 2 in the proposed budget. B2 is from the mayor's June budget message, the recommended allocation there. And then B3 is the same, again, just reorganizing it for leaving space for other options that may come forward from other city council members. So C is definitely the one that would allow for a majority vote for a different Measure E allocation than what's specified in the policy. The others are sort of just clarifications and or giving space for what is in the mayor's June budget message. I think the administration's approach for this item is, as other memos from other city council members may come forward for the June budget message that would impact the Measure E allocation, we would issue a supplemental memorandum to sort of capture all of that, to have it in one space, so that when council is voting on this item, it's very clear as to sort of what options are available when you all are discussing at the same time the June budget message and the Measure E. So that's kind of the intent of this, is just sort of almost to take all comers, and what we have at this point is what's in the June budget message and what the administration is, and then as other memos come out later, we'll sort of capture that in a supplemental that will be released end of this week or on Monday, depending on when those come out.
Okay, thank you. So it sounds like I need to move 3.5 A and B, but I don't need to move 3.5 C. So I will amend my motion to include the sunshine waiver just for the clarification purposes for 3.5 A and B.
That's okay with the seconder?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it seems to me all we really needed, and I guess I don't need you to get up, but all we really needed was one item that says reallocate in some form with 2/3 vote, or by simple majority keep the current allocations. All these specifics are only in here just for informational purposes and could have come in a memo separately. That's how I interpret it.
Generally, yes, yes.
Okay, all right. But anyway, it's fine, we'll just put it all in there and then it'll be clear. Do we need the sunshine waiver if it's not, if we don't add C?
I think so, because it's just substantially different, because it is reorganized differently, so I
Okay.
think, I'm looking at Kevin, if we still need it, but I would suspect we do, but I'm not.
That's fine, okay. So, any other comments or?
Oops.
Councilmember Foley?
Not the smartest tack in the box. Okay. Or sharpest tack. Jim, where did this come from? Who originated this memo?
This agenda language was collaborated on by the city manager's office and the city attorney's office as the June budget message was coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right, if there's no other comments, we'll vote on the motion. Oh, the bottom. Oh, there's a way to see the outcome, but it looks like the vote was 4-0.
Yes, motion passes unanimously.
Oh, it's up there, okay. All right, motion carries 4-0. Now we'll move on to the agenda for June 20th. This one is now noticed for 1:30. There are some meaty items, but we'll start with the current schedule, 9:30 closed session, 1:30 open session. Consent starts on page 6.
Did we make,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll move through this quickly. We have a lot of pages on consent this time. This is our 33 consent items, so we're going to page 28 on consent. It's the last meeting of the fiscal year, so there we go. So we're still getting through consent. All right, section 3. Actually, we have the two budget items, 3.3 and 3.4, which are the final approval of the budget. Those will be heard before consent. And then 3.5, the questions for the Director of Housing. 3.6, Project Valley Title LLC and other LLC. 6.1 on page 31 is, before that, there's going to be a recess and a convening of the Joint City Council and San Jose Financing Authority meeting, which is noticed at the end of this agenda. We'll get to that. Then we come back to 6.1, San Jose Muni Water New Offices, 7.1, Code Enforcement Pilot Program, Section 8, Community-Based Organization Engagement Partners, purchase of property on West St. John Street, proposed extension of Measure Real Property Transfer Tax Refund Pilot Program, California Department of Housing, Community Development, NOFA, and this is the another item to be heard after land use. It's the order on this agenda is confusing, but we have an item there, 8.5. Then we get to land use. We have a land use consent, 10.1, and then we have I guess this is the housing element, 10.2. And then you see at the notice at the end is the Joint City Council and San Jose Financing Authority agenda. So there's a lot going on here. There's two items, it looks like, on that joint meeting, items 1 and 2. All right, if that's clear as mud, we'll move to public comment.
Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. I just wanted to comment that if there's like 30 plus items on a consent calendar, you know it's the end of June in San Jose. So just wanted to comment that it was commented on and reminder of things and a good luck in yourselves this frazzled budget time that budget times always become. Good luck in how to really want to listen to good ideas from everyday community about working towards good solutions and good answers. And just good luck in a good negotiation process for all of us. Good logic and good reasoning. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
All right, thank you. And just to be clear, the land use is all intended to be part of one session in that meeting as well. There's no night session, right?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah, it looks like.
Yep.
All right. Any comments from members of the committee or motion?
Move to approve the agenda, but should we start at 11? I feel we should start at 11, given how much is on this agenda.
Go ahead and make a motion. I'll be.
I will
I'm
move
okay
the
either way.
agenda with a start time of 11.
And I assume a closed session 9 a.m.
Sure,
And a time certain for ceremonials at 1:30.
yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
I was just going to ask a question. I mean, I guess it's okay. The only question I would have is, given it might be it's our last closed session of the year, we want to make sure we have enough time for that, but I guess we'll just start whenever we can. Is that right? Is that
You can start at whatever you guys move. There is a fairly full agenda for closed sessions for the next two.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about. But I mean, it's,
Make that 9.
we'll make it
it's-
9, but even that isn't very much time to get to 11 and start the meeting, but I guess we can do that and get through a few things before lunch. Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second, and so let's move to a vote.
Sorry, I didn't turn on my mic. Davis.
All right, motion carries 4-0. Once the other system is completely gone, we won't be as confused, but there's still 2 screens and lots of buttons. All right, that moves us to our consent calendar for today's Rules Committee meeting. There are 4 items on, actually 6 items on consent, so let's go to public comment.
Blair.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. My letter is in public record. I'm actually writing to you guys again recently. I wrote a letter today. Hope you can read it. Just reminders of things just to be thinking during this time. And the letter's about ARPA issues. Again, I was really impressed that you had a public meeting on the subject, because it's my sincere hope that as you're working a pretty interesting mediation process for Prop E issues right now, it's my hope you can have that same mediation good process to really better address that there can be creative good answers for where to place remaining ARPA funding. I think we're all just a bit, sad and depressed that we're relying on police for that function at this time. It's an easy out, it's an easy way to work, but I really think we can do better, and I think we know we can. And there's many choices available and ways to do that. Many examples. Living wage issues is a really good example of people work that for good government practices. And there is a tradition that we don't we keep a bit of distance from police matters with certain items. And this seems one of those times that to ask for, we should have that sort of space from police in making our community decision making. And there's one more part to the living wage items that, it's just something I think we all understand and can work on and want to work on in our lives. Oh yeah, the immigration issues in the 2010s. We made sure that we didn't work and invest in the prison industrial complex and immigration detention center industry. This is what the police funding will be doing right now. We can really do better, guys. We have great examples to do that. Let's try to do it. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
All right, is there a motion to adopt the consent calendar? I want to thank our city auditor for being here and having the item on the agenda, but I think we can move on. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, let's vote. All right, the consent calendar is adopted 4-0. Now we're on to a memo co-authored by the mayor, by Vice Chair Foley and myself, asking for the scheduling of a city council governance study session. I don't know if there's anything we think is pretty self-explanatory, so let's move on to public comment.
Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Good luck with this issue. Hopefully you guys know my feelings about, the public process is important to myself. And, the Brown Act does allow for public comment on each and every item that you guys call during a meeting. And you guys don't work that system enough. And you don't ask if there's for options, for people, do they want to speak on an item? The items available to speak on if you want to, like with the city manager's report or the closed session report. You always hurriedly rush through those things and you never give the public a chance, in the name of efficiency and whatever. I'm really worried this sort of committee is going to look to further how to kind of block the public process when I think you guys should be trying to work on how to really open up good guidelines and procedural practices that invite the open public process. There's ways to do that. Really good guideline examples in how to do that you guys don't want to do enough, that I wish you would. And when you do, there's just something really pretty amazing that's available to all of us. And I hope that's what this group is going to study, and not how to just continually limit public participation in the process. Good luck in the efforts, and yeah, thank you. I think Paul will obviously have something to say about this, Paul Soto, and it's allowing an openness. It is negotiative, and it's working that things out. There's good ways to do this. I hope you guys are wanting to do that. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
All right. Any questions? I'm just going to suggest that the sooner the better. When we come back at the beginning of the new fiscal year, I would hope that we can schedule something in August for this, but we'll find out. But I would think that we would like to get this moving. Is there a motion? Oh, Councilmember Foley, you put your hand up.
Well, yeah, I'll make a motion and a comment. This study session is not intended to really take away any rights under the Brown Act, which are required under the Brown Act, the communication and engagement issues. So this is an opportunity for the council to get together and discuss and adopt some norms and procedures on how we're going to go forward effectively and efficiently. And I so move.
Second.
All right, well said. All right, let's move to a vote. All right, motion carries 5-0. So that brings us to open forum. 5-0. Oh, 4-0.
All right, Blair?
Hi, are we at open forum?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, for this item, I guess it's important just to mention Measure E issues again. I didn't quite say fully what I wanted to say yesterday, and the idea is, I've read a few of the items on how you're trying to work and negotiate for this issue. I've read things that from Mahan's administration side that there really isn't that much funding available for the bond measures from Measure E in this coming year. I don't know how accurate that is. It makes for thought, and I know there's a lot of private funding that supposedly is coming in for the quick home things, which I think can help offer a lot of relief to the process and respect the original intentions of the Measure E issue, which is a 75-25 split, with 75 going to affordable housing development and 25 going to the actual unhoused needs. So just a real good luck to yourselves that we can get back to that place. I think we're figuring out we can get back to that place, and good luck in how to do that. And thank you. I have a cough. That we can. My other point yesterday was that there's a lot of issues surrounding housing overall about this, housing development. We have a pretty strong contingency within the council and mayor that they wanted to return to market rate housing to address issues. And so they're fearful of affordable housing ideas and middle income ideas that are ready to go. And I think a really interesting package in how to think and work and how to leave the era of COVID. It's been mentioned by Councilperson Batra why he fears leaving the cost of living index way of working. And And I hope we can have better conversations about that, that we don't have to fear that. I don't know what that is exactly. I hope we can work on that.
Call-in user 1.
Yeah, hi, Martha O'Connell. In the last year, I've noticed a disturbing trend in the council offices, and that is when I call in to get some information, nobody's answering the phone. Now, I will say that the great exception to this is Councilperson Foley. I don't have a problem getting through. People get back to me. But there's other council members that send out these call to actions. And then, as you know, I, in turn, will send out emails to people in the mobile home community. And then I will call the office trying to get information on when is this likely to appear on the agenda. I know you can't give me a time certain, but I don't even get a call back. So I would suggest that those council members who are issuing call to arms, call to speak, we need your voice heard, when somebody is trying to organize people to speak and we don't even get a call back, that's really, really discouraging. And I would also suggest that the most important call that any council member gets is from a citizen, not a developer, not somebody with a lot of money, but an ordinary citizen that's trying to engage with their government. So please, guys, would you have your staff return phone calls? Thank you.
Brian Darby.
Thank you. I have to agree with what Ms. McConnell said, is that not only not getting callbacks, but about the rich and developers and powerful people, that's not going to change. The planet will stop revolving around the sun. It won't change. We'll say it, but I don't think it can change. I think that's the way the system's built. But I hope I'm wrong. The other thing, I don't know if you've been looking at what's going on in Manhattan and on the East Coast with the fires in Canada. We went through that a while back. The air you see there is exactly how the air was around here back in the 60s. And you couldn't breathe. Schools, people who had asthma, some of them died. I've seen that more often than I want to. Lost a lot of, when I was in elementary school, I lost 6 friends before I was out of elementary school. And it wasn't just from asthma, mainly suicides and stuff. But it affects you anyway, is what I'm trying to say, is that I encourage you to keep with your issues with the environment, because it can go back. And since there's so many more people now, more people will be affected. And the global climate hoax people, I don't know how you talk to them. A lot of them are flat earthers. I don't even know how you talk to somebody like that. The universe we live in is 13.8 billion years. The planet we live on is 4.5 billion years. And those are facts. We know that as a fact. And that sometimes it just gets frustrating when you give facts and it's like talking into the wind. Thank you.
Back to the committee.
All right, thank you very much. Today's meeting is adjourned at 2:36 p.m.